What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. And if you are living in New York City, I'm sure that you are. I'm sure that you have seen by every single person who lives in this city how beautiful the weather has been for the last 3 days. Like, it has truly been the perfect temperature. It has been sunny. It has been clear skies. It has truly been glorious. However, you guys know the drill. If you've been listening for a while, you know this is fake spring. New York experiences like 19 seasons a year, and we are currently experiencing phase 1 of fake spring. That's usually like 1 to 2, we have really nice weather, then back to cold, and really nice weather, then back to cold. And then we finally kick into actual warm, consistently warm spring weather. We are in phase 1 of fake spring, which does mean in like 5 to 10 business days, I will be back in a puffer jacket and I will be insanely congested, but I'm going to enjoy this 70-degree weather. It was 76 degrees today. It is so nice considering the weather and the winter that we have had. I could not be happier. I walked home from my haircut the other day. I took a 2-mile walk home because it was so sunny out. I listened to Harry Styles' new album, and it is incredible what a new haircut, 70-degree weather, and a new Harry Styles album will do for your mental health. I truly know all of my problems in a way. I have never in my life had more clarity in my mind than on Sunday as I was walking home listening to this new Harry Styles album. We will chat about it in just a few moments, but I feel like you just can't be mad this week if you're in New York. It is so perfect. It is just like the perfect weather. I am truly over the moon. And on the topic of being over the moon about things, this wasn't enough to be a full story, so I didn't make it one. But the fact that Kathryn Hahn is going to be playing Mother Gothel in the Tangled live action truly could not be cast better. It is the perfect casting, and I am so excited. I'm not a Disney adult by all means, I appreciate what Disney is for the culture and whatnot, but you're not going to catch me in the Mickey ears. If that's your prerogative, but it's not mine. However, this Tangled live action, I am sat for. Milo Manheim playing Flynn Rider, Kathryn Hahn playing Mother Gothel. This is going to be so good. Just from the casting alone, I am so excited for this movie. And I know that Disney live actions kind of get a bad rep sometimes. People don't always love them. I think they're fun. I think it's a fun way to reimagine a movie. And we do live in remake culture where everything's getting a remake, everything's getting a sequel, everything's, copying the same story over and over. But I think it's really cool to watch Disney animated films get brought to life in this way. It's just a fun way to respin the imagination that is Disney. So I am very excited for this movie. And Kathryn Hahn playing Mother Gothel is going to be unbelievable. I am so excited for this. And some other things I'm very excited for before we get into the show, because I am dying to chat about this Harry Styles album. I have some very exciting housekeeping. You guys already know I have my live show coming up on March 21st. It is in a week from this Saturday in Astoria at Grove 34. I am so excited. I'm going to be chatting all about how Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce led us to Cowboy Carter, and this 3-act project is going to be so much fun. Tickets are on sale now. I will have them linked down below, or you can just head to my Instagram and I have them linked in my bio there. But please come out, get your tickets if you're in the area. It's going to be so much fun. It is Saturday, March 21st at 7 p.m. at Grove 34 in Astoria. It's going to be a blast. I hope to see all of you there. And if you can't make it out and you want to hear more from me, I'm also going to be on my friend Chris's podcast, Fixing Famous People, this week. It comes out today if you're listening to this. So it comes out on Wednesday, the same day that this podcast comes out. I've recorded an episode of his show with his co-host Dominic, and we had so much fun. We fixed Ashley Tisdale. Their whole premise is they take a celebrity who needs some PR fixing, and we kind of go through their career and all of the scandals they've lived through. And Ashley Tisdale is the perfect candidate to be fixed right now, especially in today's climate of pop culture. And it was just perfect timing for her to be the topic of conversation. It was so much fun. I had a blast. It was so nice for them to invite me on, and it is out now. So like I said, that is Fixing Famous People. I will have that link down below. But yes, please go check that out. Thank you again to Chris and Dominic for having me on. And with all of that being said, let's get on with the show and kick things off as we always do with our Drew releases, our new music releases from last week and our new releases coming up this week. And we had some big releases last week, mainly talking about Harry Styles' Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally. very highly anticipated album. I have been so excited for this. I was loving Aperture, so excited for this album, and I am digging this album. I did expect the production to be a little bit bigger. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, like, I wish it was more disco. However, it's quite literally in the title, Disco Occasionally. I wasn't expecting a full disco album from him by all means. I just don't think that's Harry Styles' vibe. And like, even listening to Aperture as the lead single, I was like, we're going to go more this vibe, I fear, than actual disco. So I wasn't expecting much disco from a straight white man. Like, let's just call it what it is. But I mean, like, we did get a little bit of disco with like Dance No More. I love that track. But like I was saying, I thought the production was going to go a little bit. I thought some of the songs could have gone a little bit further with it. You know, like start off a little bit with that like LCD sound system, MGMT kind of vibes in the beginning, and then give us some type of like explosion of crazy production at the end. However, it doesn't ruin the album for me. I just thought it would have been a lot of fun if he would have kind of dipped his toes into some more experimental stuff production-wise there. However, I am by no means disappointed or let down by this album. I think it is great. And like I said, listening to it in the sunny 70-degree weather was truly life-changing over the weekend. My favorite track has remained the same from my first listen up until today, and that is Taste Back. I love that track. I think it outperforms every song on the album by a landslide, from production to his vocals on it, to the lyrics of it, to the lyrical content, like the actual meaning of the song. I just think it's the best track on the album by a landslide. It feels so nostalgic to me. It feels like I was like listening to this in 2012 while I was scrolling Tumblr, and like it could be placed in any Zooey Deschanel movie from like the 2010s and like would perfectly fit. It just sounds so nostalgic, and I love this song. I think it is incredible, and I think it might be in like my top 10 favorite songs of the year. I know it's obviously early to call that, and we have a lot more music coming out, but it's definitely sitting in that top 10 right now because, you know, we haven't had that much music come out just yet this year, but I am absolutely loving Taste Back. I'm also loving American Girls. I feel like that's a very standard favorite for everybody. It is also acting as like the second single. He released a music video for it. I was a little confused at first because I was like, he's saying all of his friends are in love with American Girls, and he's literally dating Zoe Kravitz right now, who is in fact an American girl. And then I listened to the Zane Lowe interview, which was a great interview, as all Zane Lowe interviews are. He's always really just pulling out the best of the best from the talent that he gets. And Harry was explaining how this was written from a perspective of him watching three of his best friends get married over the last few years, and all the stages of like watching them fall in love and seeing it start to finish to, you know, talking, dating, engaged, married kind of phases, and like how he was the single one for so long, just kind of like watching all of this happen and seeing all of his best friends get married. So when you take it from that aspect, it makes a lot more sense. But I'm loving American Girls. I love Carla's song. There's really the only song on the album where I'm not fully vibing with, which is so ironic because you would think by the title of it, from my podcast at least, I would be all over it. I don't know why I cannot get behind pop. Like, I literally host a podcast called Too Pop to Handle. This song should be literally up my alley. I don't know what it is. When it comes on, I'm like, I don't love this. Like, I find myself skipping it. It's not bad necessarily. I just, for some reason, like, it doesn't sit right in my ears for me. And like, I don't know. It's so funny because you would think a song called Pop, as somebody who loves pop music, pop culture, my podcast is literally called Too Pop to Handle. Like, all of the stars are aligned for this to be a song that I would love. However, for some reason, it's just not doing it for me. And you know what? That is fine. The rest of the album is incredible. I am seriously loving it. I'm very excited. I haven't watched his Netflix special, The One Night Only in Manchester. I need to still watch that, but I'm excited to see him bring these songs to life and perform them with his band and just, you know, see what he does. He has such a fun presence when he's on stage. I mean, looking at his Aperture performance from the Brits last week and just knowing, I mean, I've seen him live a couple of times. I want to say like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times. I've seen him a lot. And he just puts on such a fun show. There's such a fun energy within the room. So I'm sure it comes through on the screen from The One Night Only in Manchester. So definitely need to watch that. I'll get to it eventually. There's a lot of other stuff going on in the world, but really, really happy with this Harry album. I wasn't, you just never know what you're going to get, especially with an artist like Harry, who is so private and keeps things kind of to himself in terms of just like his personal life and like, not that his sound ever goes that crazy off of his path. There is like a certain signature Harry style sound, but it does evolve with each album. And, he does play around with different vocal styles and production and stuff. And like, they definitely all sound different, but there's still that like there's that Harry like through line of all of his projects. And I feel like this fits very well with the rest of his albums. But it definitely does give us a new kind of angle at his creativeness. And I think that's what, as an artist, you should be getting. So loving this album, I'm very happy with it. Taste Back, You Will Always Be Famous. And I'm really curious to see like how this album holds up to the other albums we get this year. Like, will it end up in my top 10? I am really liking it, but I'm not sure it's going to be like one of my favorite albums of the year. But like, maybe we get shitty music this year. Like maybe it does end up pulling through. You never know what to expect, especially when you get an album so early in the year. So we will have to wait and see, but I am loving it nonetheless. We also got a release that I was not expecting from Anne Hathaway last week. It came out of nowhere. So if you've been listening for a while or reading my newsletter, you know that Mother Mary, the A24 movie, is my most anticipated movie of the year. It's the movie where Anne Hathaway is playing this like dark pop star. It's like a Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift hybrid, as she referred to it. They randomly dropped the first single from Mother Mary, who is Anne Hathaway, last week. It's called Burial. And it feels like Charlie XCX, Lady Gaga had a baby, and this is the song, which makes sense because Jack Antonoff, Charlie XCX, George Daniel, and Anne Hathaway all wrote on this track. And it feels exactly like what I was expecting for this character of Mother Mary. It's very haunting and like this dark pop kind of vibe. I feel like it could perfectly fit on the Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. Like it's really giving that like Brat meets Fame Monster vibe that you would expect a Charlie XCX project that is supposed to be this like haunting pop star. Like it really is really nailing on the target what I expected from this movie. And I'm just so excited to see what the rest of this album sounds like and what this movie is. It comes out April 18th, I believe. The soundtrack and the movie all come out the exact same day. So I am very, very excited for that. And I just feel like A24 has really been killing it with like their movie and sound, like accompanying soundtracks, like what Charlie did with the Moment for A.G. Cook. And just like the soundtracks they've been putting out lately have been really hitting it on the head for the movies and the projects, really bringing them to life. So I'm stoked for the rest of this album. I mean, Jack Antonoff, Charlie XCX, George Daniel, FKA Twigs wrote on it. Like there's a lot of really talented people in the mix of this album, and I am so excited to see what is next for Miss Mother Mary. And then we also had a release from BB Rexa last week called New Religion, and it sounds exactly like what I want in a pop song. It makes me want to be on a dance floor. It makes me want to be under a disco ball with a tequila soda in my hand with the lights flashing, which you guys know is one of my favorite types of music, favorite ways to feel when I'm listening to a song. And this sounds so mean, but I feel like BB Rexa is putting so much into this new era. And I just feel like it's not making the noise that like the amount of energy she's putting into the project isn't translating into the culture. And I feel so bad. Like I just feel like she is putting so much of herself into this album and it's just not getting the payoff that you would expect from the level of work she's putting into it. I mean, she's been putting out a single every single week, which I totally miss. She also put out a single, I think it's called Click Click or Click Click. I don't know. Another single last week that I totally missed. And it's kind of like a European pop track. I'm really into it. And the music's been like good. Like I'm into it. It's very poppy, upbeat. It's what you would expect BB Rexa music to sound like, but it's very good. And it's not getting any of the coverage or like the you know, what's the word I'm looking for? The virality or anything that like you would expect from the amount of work she's putting into it. She was just on Jimmy Kimmel last night, which I'm hoping that kind of gives her a little bit of a boost, but like late night's tough. Like late night doesn't do what it used to do. Late night used to like get you into the zeitgeist of culture and like get you in front of all these people. But like now it doesn't really move the needle the way that it used to. So I don't know how that performance is going to translate into the rest of this album. Like I was saying a few weeks ago, she's also releasing a song every single week. So it's a lot to digest. Like it's literally overconsumption of music, you know? Like we're living in a world where overconsumption is so normalized with TikTok and TikTok Shop and everyone needs every color Labubu and this and that, you know, it's a lot of stuff going on. And I feel like the way BB Rexa is doing this is feeding that consumer mindset. And I don't know if it's going to help or hurt her. Like it might overexpose her and it might get her in front of the right people. Like there's so many ways that this could go, and I'm genuinely tapped in to see how this performs. I'm really honestly into the music. I think it's really just well produced and well made pop music, and there's songs that I genuinely like. You know, I want upbeat, I want dancey, I want fun, I want that vibe, and that's exactly what she's been giving us so far. So I, for one, am tapped in, but we will have to see how it kind of continues to roll out as this album gets closer and closer. And those are all the releases from last week, but we do have some fun ones coming up this week as well. On Wednesday, today, if you're listening to this on release day, we have two very exciting singles. First up, we have Robyn's third single from her upcoming album, Sex Essential, called Blow My Mind, which is one of my most anticipated albums of the year. It comes out at the end of this month, March 27th. I am so excited. New Robyn single coming out today. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, otherwise it is already out. And we also have a new single from Kacey Musgrave. She is starting her new era. I wrote all about it in my newsletter over the weekend over on Substack. So if you're looking for just kind of the background of the era and how it's starting out, you can head over there. It'll be a link down below. But we are getting the lead single from her upcoming studio album. The single is called Dry Spell, and I am so excited for this single. And then on Friday, we are getting a new single from Flo called Leak This. I love Flo. I've been preaching about them on this podcast, I feel like, since I started the show, honestly. And I think they are exactly what we need in the girl group space right now. This like R&B vibe, very like Destiny's Child kind of vibes. They are so good. They are so talented, and I am very excited for this new era. So lots of new music coming up this week, lots of music this month. We have Slater coming out, all of these singles, lots to look forward to in March of this year. So very tapped in. We'll keep you guys obviously in the loop as we continue through the month, but that is all of our Drew releases for this week, which means it is time to dive into some pop culture moments of the week that were just too pop to handle. But before we get into all of that fun stuff, I always like to take this time to remind you guys, if at any point during this episode you are loving what you are hearing, do not be shy. Go ahead and leave me a 5-star rating or review. It really is the best way to help support the podcast, and it would mean the world to me. So if you are loving anything I am saying, go ahead, hit subscribe, hit follow, hit like, wherever you're listening. Find a way to say hello, find a way to send some love, because it really would mean the world to me. But as I always say, I do need to give you a show to find out if you are loving what you are hearing first. So let me shut up and let's get into these pop culture moments. Kicking it off with some news that I am very sad to report. Britney Spears was arrested for a DUI last week. So she was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence of a combination of alcohol and drugs on March 4th after she was seen driving erratically at a high rate of speed, according to the California Highway Patrol. And this just breaks my heart. I mean, we talk about Britney pretty often on this show. You know, I try to leave her social media presence out, but anytime, I mean, my first episode of this podcast was literally the week she released her book. I feel like I say it every single time. I'm like, I have been talking nothing but high things about Britney since the beginning of this podcast and for my entire life. I've always loved Britney. I've always been a huge fan and have always been really upset by the way that her career projected and everything. So she was taken to the hospital for a blood alcohol test before being booked into custody in the early hours of Thursday and then later released. And one of her reps said, Britney is going to take the right steps to comply with the law, and hopefully this can be the first step in a long overdue change that needs to occur in Britney's life. Hopefully she can get the help and support that she needs during this difficult time. She then deactivated her Instagram account, which I don't know if that really does anything. You know, her comments were off anyway. She was kind of posting whatever she wanted, but I do think that is probably the best to really get her out of the public eye at all. There was also a statement I read that she's like being very private right now, which I feel like she always is, but she doesn't want to be seen. She doesn't want to be out in public or anything. So just really heartbreaking to read. And I mean, I'm never going to excuse drunk driving, whether you are Beyonce, my favorite person in the world, or Justin Timberlake. I'm still going to slap your wrist and say this is inexcusable. I mean, Britney Spears just sold her entire music catalog for millions of dollars. You can afford a driver, you can afford an Uber. Like, there are ways for you to get home without driving under the influence, because that not only puts you in danger, it puts everybody else on the road in danger, and just is a really stupid move, you know, for anybody to do, whether you are rich, whether you're not. Like, just really inexcusable behavior. And knowing Britney and her history of like what's been going on with her in the past few years with, you know, getting out of her conservatorship, but clearly she's not all there. And it's just so heartbreaking to know that like she's been in such a ringer for the last couple of years and really for the last couple of decades. I mean, I would say back to even like the early 2000s, it's really just been like a nonstop kind of like turmoil. I mean, we had like Circus and we had the Femme Fatale tour and things like that, where she was good and she was performing and she was healthy and things like that. But like, it's really been like a cat and mouse game with her, I feel like, with her health. And it's so heartbreaking to watch this happen and see all of this. So I do hope that this is the beginning of her taking the right steps to get the help that she needs and really figuring out what it is that will help her. I do think the damage that's been done to her with the drugs that she was on, you know, in her conservatorship that they were feeding her that she wasn't actually prescribed, that is unfortunately irreversible damage that like truly breaks my heart, just knowing the effects of like substance abuse. Both of my parents were in recovery, so it's just something that I like do not take lightly, and knowing that like she was forced to take these things and whatever, it's just a very shitty situation is like the lightest way that I can put it. So I do think like that is unfortunately irreversible damage, but I do hope there is some type of wake up call to her to be like, hey, like we've got to figure something out. And I did hear that her and her mom are speaking again, which, you know, the situation with her and her family is going to be touchy forever after the conservatorship and things like that. But it's kind of just like, if anyone can get through to her, like at this point is kind of like, let them get through and let them kind of help her out, because it's clearly what she needs right now. She needs support and she needs people surrounding her to like help her out. Just really upsetting, really heartbreaking. And I hope this is really the jumpstart that she needs to really, we'll never have her back, you know, the way that she once was and fully functioning like that. Unfortunately, I do think, like I said, that is kind of irreversible, but I hope this is kind of, to quote the great High School Musical, I hope this is the start of something new and will help her kind of, you know, lasso her mind together and get things kind of back on track. Moving into the next moment of the week that was too pop to handle, somebody else who I hope can soon lasso their mind and get them back on track, Timothée Chalamet. Now, I'm sure you all know exactly where I'm going with this. I feel like this is the story and the name on everybody's lips this week, but Timothée Chalamet is getting a lot of pushback this week for some comments he made in an interview last month, which already this story is so interesting to me because like this interview was literally over a month ago. And for some reason last week, it just caught flame and now it is taking off like wildfire. And it really does go to show like the internet does not forget. Like you might say something and things might seem like they just blow over and, you know, it was like a tumbleweed of a statement, but you never know when it's going to catch fire and just like take off like wildfire the way that this has happened. So basically he was chatting with Matthew McConaughey and it was doing press for Marty Supreme. And he was talking about like the rising of streaming platforms and kind of the concerns that the way like social media has shortened our attention spans and the way that like the pandemic made people stop going to the movies and just, you know, the way that we're in a different world right now where consuming media isn't the way that it once was. You know, people aren't watching movies with the same attention span. I mean, I was saying last week or whenever that was, I saw Wuthering Heights and the people next to me were on their phones the entire time. Like people are not able to unplug and watch anything at all anymore. So he was kind of just chatting about like streaming and social media and things like that. And he was going into, you know, just how he approaches his art and his movies. And he said, I admire people, and I've done it myself, who go in a talk show and say, hey, we've got to keep movie theaters alive. We've got to keep this genre alive. Then he goes on to say, and this is where it really took a turn. He said, I don't want to be working in ballet or opera where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about this anymore. All respect to ballet and opera people out there. I just lost 14 cents in viewership. I'm taking shots for no reason. So, I mean, Timothy, why? Like, it's just like, you can, I on one hand, I get what he's saying. I understand where he's saying like there is less of an interest in ballet and opera in the forefront of culture. So it seems right now. It is not the trendy thing. You know, people barely want to go to the movies. People are barely watching TV. People want to watch a 5-second video on TikTok or a 30-minute vlog on YouTube. Like traditional media and the way that we consume it is unfortunately no longer puncturing culture the way that it used to. And I feel like opera and ballet have kind of been something that are not something that are in the forefront of people's mind when it comes to the media that they consume. However, saying that nobody cares about opera and ballet anymore is just such a false statement, and B, crazy thing to say when you consider that ballet and opera have been an art form for 500 plus years. Like they are truly where performing arts and theatrical expressions and, all of that really began. And we would not have media as it is today, whether that is a musical, a Broadway show, a movie, just performance art in general, without these pieces of media that have existed, like I said, for 500 years. So to say that nobody cares about them is insane. And there's plenty of ballets and opera houses and all of these performances going on to this day, many of nights a week. So to say that nobody cares about this is just such an arrogant thing to say. And I mean, even saying I just lost 14 cents in viewership, he's even diminishing how many people that enjoy opera and ballet are watching whatever he's doing, because 14 cents is nothing in the grand scheme of how much money this kid has. It's just a really unfortunate statement for somebody to say, considering how he's been in the forefront of conversations of culture for the last several years, but especially the last few months, it has been an oversaturation of Timothée Chalamet. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe Timothée Chalamet girl boss too close to the sun with Marty Supreme. Maybe he has been doing too much press and just trying too hard, and he's too in our faces. So he's just saying whatever he wants. I do think the responses that he is getting are very funny. A lot of opera houses and ballets that are happening right now are offering discounts using code Timothy, or posting about him oh, here's an entire sold out show that nobody cares about Timothée Chalamet. They are getting the last laugh, and they are getting back. It is what it is. He said what he said, and he can't take it back. And then his principal, because he went to LaGuardia High School, which is a performing arts school in which you literally have to audition to get in. And the principal of the school, I don't know if it was his principal or just the current principal, but regardless, they made a statement saying, we believe that if a single performance, a single note, a single brushstroke, a single movement across the stage touches even one person, it is worthy, it matters, it is very much alive. We know your heart and we know you better, which to me, I'm this is the ultimate slap on the wrist of a principal coming out and making a statement. It's you feel you're back in high school and you're doing something wrong and you're in the principal's office, you're going to go to ISS, you feel like you're in major trouble when the principal is coming out. Maybe that's just me, who was never in trouble in high school. Maybe that's just trauma I had. That's just me imagining what it would feel like to be in trouble. I never once went to the principal's office ever in any of my schools. So obviously, that's just me imagining what it feels like to be in trouble with the principal. But if that was me, I'd be shitting brick if my principal made a statement about something on the podcast and was we know you better than this. I'd be oh my God, I fucked up real bad. But anyway, it's why tear something down to lift yourself up? You are doing this interview to promote your project and promote your art and promote you as an actor. And everything he's doing is to promote himself for award season and to get this movie in front of people. And even the point of this interview is to get people into the theaters and to see the movie. So if you have to tear something down to make yourself look interesting, you immediately, to me, lose credibility. Because if you have something worth seeing or saying or what people want to hear, if people want to hear from you, you shouldn't have to tear a person, an art form, anything else down to uplift what you're doing. It's literally textbook bullying behavior. And it's Timothée Chalamet, he does kind of approach things from a silly, unserious way. But it's at this point in his career, he has been in the conversation for so long that it's you do kind of need to know when to shut up and when to stop speaking and know what the right or wrong thing to say. And it feels so disappointing because he had such a good run with Marty Supreme. I mean, I did a whole podcast episode saying this is Timothy's golden award season because it felt like that a couple weeks ago. And now it is quickly just unraveling, and that seems to not be the case. And yeah, like I said, I feel like he's been in the press too much. It's just been too many things that he's saying. And I don't know if this warrants an apology. I don't think he needs to make a big statement. I do, however, I believe Oscar voting is long done. So this scandal isn't going to affect any Oscar votes because they're already in and it's already done. So whether he wins or not is already predetermined. That's not going to affect it. But I do wonder if he does win anything, if he will make a statement and apologize there, because that does seem like the best way to do it. And then if he doesn't win an Oscar this weekend, I wonder if he ever comes out and does make a statement, because being real, like Timothée Chalamet doesn't seem like somebody who actually cares. Like I don't think he actually is losing any sleep over this. And I think he's probably laughing about it. Like he's probably watching all of these people, including myself, talk about it and is like literally laughing about it. But it's just like, it was so close to being a perfect run for Timothée Chalamet, like a perfect press run, perfect award season. He's there with Kylie. He's bringing his mom to award shows, like such. And the movie was great. I loved Marty Supreme. Like it really has been such a fun era for Timothée Chalamet. And we've seen so many eras that he's been in the last few years with the movies he's promoting. But this was a really, I mean, the premise in the movie is dream big, and like he really did dream big and just went for it with this movie. So it sucks to see that like we gave Timothée Chalamet so much and then he just kind of ruined it all with one interview. But we will have to wait and see, you know, what the Oscars determine after this weekend, which is crazy. We're coming to the end of award season already. On the topic of the Oscars, so this isn't like a story, but they're doing a bridesmaids reunion at the Oscars this weekend. It is 15 years since Bridesmaids came out this year, which is fucking crazy. Because when you think about when Bridesmaids came out, it was such a huge deal. Like people were screaming, crying, throwing up over this movie. It was the same thing with like Pitch Perfect. It was that same era, that same vibe of movie where people were obsessed with this movie and like would not let it die. So the fact that we are celebrating 15 years of Bridesmaids this year, and the cast, pretty much the entire cast, I believe, is involved in this reunion. I believe they're either presenting or they're doing something at the Oscars this weekend just to pay homage to the movie, but the whole cast are going to reunite. I am so excited for that. And I'm excited to see if Timothée Chalamet makes an apology or makes a statement before then. Also very excited to see if Michael B. Jordan does come through and win the Oscar, because that's really what I want. Like I want to see Michael B. Jordan win an Oscar this weekend so incredibly bad, but we will have to wait and see how the Academy swung, and that will be next week's episode. Moving into the next moment, this is a crazy fucking story. A 35-year-old Florida woman has been arrested for shooting an AR-15 style weapon at Rihanna's Beverly Hills mansion while she was inside. Sit with that for a second. Like, what the fuck do you mean? So on Sunday, Rihanna was in her house in Beverly Hills in her mansion, and a woman shot at the house with an AR-15 style weapon, and some of the bullets hit and penetrated the wall. So police did arrest, her name is Ivana Ortiz. She lives in Orlando, and she does have several prior arrests in her home state, according to public records by the time, including bankruptcy in 2013, suspicion of careless driving in 2021, and in 2023, she was arrested for suspicion of domestic violence and battery. So this isn't her first run-in with the law. You know, this is unfortunately a repeat offender when it comes to just doing illegal things. But this is crazy. Shooting an AR-15 at anybody's home is fucking nuts. And then, of course, the internet dives into her social media and starts looking into who she is. And Rihanna's not the only celebrity she's like had made up beef with. She's also had issues with Kim Kardashian and Cardi B. And she was posting online saying, "Listen, Rihanna, when you die, God is taking me to my future," saying that she was plotting for Drake's revenge and alluding to Rihanna having AIDS on the internet. So like this woman is clearly beyond unwell. Like saying she is unwell is not even scratching the surface. But like the fact that like she was at the home, you know, Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, I'm sure have plenty of homes. And like the fact that she knew she was at her house in Beverly Hills somehow, or maybe she was just like hoping she was home. Like she was clearly trying to harm her. I don't know if she was trying to kill her, but I mean like an AR-15 is pretty fucking serious. Like you don't just like use that for funsies. It's not a paintball gun. So like whether she knew Rihanna was home or not, A, that's terrifying. B, what were you doing in Beverly Hills if you live in Florida? Like it's just everything about this story is crazy. It hasn't been reported if A$AP Rocky and the kids were there as well. Like no one knows who was in the home, but like this is crazy. And just whether it is Rihanna or a regular human being, you know, not a celebrity, it doesn't make it any better or any different, but it does just kind of like make you think about how crazy people get about celebrities and just about I mean, she was trying to get revenge for Drake, which like a grown woman trying to get revenge for Drake by shooting Rihanna. What are we doing? Like, what do you mean? It's insane. And like, I immediately go to like Christina Grimmie, Selena, like people who were shot by fans at a show, wherever it was. Like, it's just like unfortunate reoccurring story that we have heard more than once. And like the fact that like the fact that she was able to get close enough to this house to penetrate the wall. It didn't go through the wall, but like it did leave a mark in the house. So they said, that is insane. Like, did she not have security around? How did she get on the property close enough for that? I mean, an AR-15 is no joke. Again, it's not a paintball. Like, I understand that. But like, this is insane. And you know what? They still won't do anything about gun control. Like, they will still blame this on the human being. And of course, yes, this woman is mentally unstable, but like, guns are the problem. What is it going to take for that to become evident to our administration? I mean, it's not like there's a lot of other things going on with our administration that are unfortunately more pressing, but like the guns have been an issue for so long, whether it is shooting whether it's a drive-by, whether it is a school shooting that happens once a week. So it feels like in our country, whether it is somebody shooting an AR-15 at Rihanna. It's like the way that guns are just so easily accessible to anybody in the world, whether you are mentally sane or not, is so terrifying to me. And like the fact that she had access to an AR-15 weapon, that is crazy. And like, she had been arrested 3 different times before this for multiple different things, one being domestic violence and battery. Clearly, this woman is not well. So the fact that she was able to purchase a gun, what? Like, I cannot. It really blows my mind. And it just reminds you how fucking crazy people can get. But even like seeing the things she was posting about Rihanna on social media, like leading up to this, I don't know how long she's been posting about her, but like I said, she was posting about Kim Kardashian, about Cardi B. Like, clearly there's something unwell about this woman, but like seeing that she's posting these things about her and then she shows up at her house and shoots into her home while she is there, it is very fucking crazy. I'm very happy that nobody was hurt. I pray that those kids were not home, because that is it's terrifying for anybody, but like for children to have their house shot at is so insane to me. And like, I can never wrap my head around like trying to hurt somebody in that way, especially somebody I don't know. This is a celebrity that like you do not know. The parasocial, it jumps out to a level that is so deeply unwell, and it's just genuinely terrifying. And on the topic of just like terrifying behavior and the way that, people treat celebrities, Chappell Roan is making some headlines this week because she was seen filming paparazzi and trying to give them a taste of their own medicine. And you know what? I'm here for this. So, background story. She was in Paris for Paris Fashion Week, and she is seen getting out of a car, I believe going to a restaurant, and she gets out and starts filming the paparazzi and is like, these are the guys who've been following me. I've asked them to stop. I've told them, please stop recording me, and they won't leave me alone. Like, they are treating me like an animal. They're being crazy, and just like filming them. And they're still going back and forth with her, and like, they will not leave her alone, to the point where like one guy, literally, she's like, oh, he's hiding his face because he's embarrassed. And he goes, well, will you sign for me? Like, still asking for an autograph and not grasping the fact that like you are acting insane and literally making this human being break under pressure. And now Chappell Roan gets a bad rep on the internet because she does say a lot of stupid shit. I don't think she means it in a malicious way, but she does. She's a little more reactive than most famous people should be. And like, we have seen her yell at paparazzi time and time and time again at the VMAs. We saw it. We saw even at, was it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year, I believe, when her publicist was like, all right, Chappell's coming. If you guys yell at her, she's leaving. Like, we have seen her have these moments many of times before. And like, I'm seeing the internet kind of like turn on her more and more as the days go by, I feel like, where they're like, oh, she's so ungrateful and this or that. But like, I don't think Chappell Roan is wrong for standing up for herself against these paparazzi who are hounding her and won't leave her alone, especially considering the way that paparazzi treat people in Paris. Like, Paris specifically has such a bad rep for paparazzi. Dua Lipa and her fiance Callum, they were out a few weeks ago, and like, they walked out of a restaurant and literally were surrounded, and they were like, please just leave us alone. We want to go. We want to leave. They're like, we're not here for you. We're not here for you. Yet they have her album waiting to be signed by her. Like, they're just so ruthless. We also saw Jenny from Blackpink this week have a whole moment with them. She like gets out of the car, walking down the street, will not be left alone for blocks. And then she finally gets to a point where she asks her assistant or whoever it was, is like, can you just say if I will sign for them, will they leave me alone? And she's signing for them, and you can just see in her eyes, or she's wearing sunglasses, but like by her like expression and like her body language, like she is just so fed up by it. And like you could argue they are celebrities as to what they're signing up for, but like at its core, like why is paparazzi culture sewn into celebrity culture? You know, it's like, why is somebody making a song equate to them being hounded and followed and harassed by these people time and time again? Like it doesn't make sense. And I understand that like being famous and a celebrity, it is, you know, a privilege, and you are in a upper class than most people will ever be in their lives. But it doesn't mean like they get to be treated less than a human being than other people. And like, I am a huge fan of Chappell, but like, I will admit when I think she's being a little fucking crazy. And like, I don't think she's being crazy for this. I think people are just, she's an easy target. She's new on the scene. People know this is how she acts and they like to make fun of it and make jokes about it. But like, why should she not be able to just like go to dinner and not be harassed, you know? And you could argue like she could have more security, or she could have, you know, wear something, a hat, or wear something where she's not recognizable. But like, why should she have to go to these great lengths simply to not be stalked? Like, it is stalking and harassment at the end of the day, which like people get charged for doing, you know, like stalking is a huge crime. That is not something that is like taken lightly. So like, why is it different when there's a camera in their hand than when it is like your ex-boyfriend following you around? You know, obviously, sure, maybe there's malicious intent and things like that on the other hand, but you guys get what I'm saying. I don't think she was wrong for the way that she reacted to this. It's just kind of the internet choosing to continue to beat down Chappell Roan. And also like, why can Justin Bieber throw a water bottle at a paparazzi, but Chappell Roan can't stand up for herself and say, leave me alone? It's a double standard. There's obviously some misogyny in there. And like Chappell does get the brunt of it in these situations because she opens herself up to it, excuse me. Like, I will admit that, you know, she does make it a spectacle of herself, but like, you know, it's not something that anybody would want. I would hate to leave my apartment or to leave my hotel and have people following me around, and people are like, no, people love fame, people want that. It's like, okay, well, those people are calling the paparazzi on themselves, you know, like those are people who are seeking it out, and that's fine. Like, that is their prerogative, do what you want. But I do think the double standard of like I said, like Justin Bieber fully threw a water bottle at paparazzi 2 days ago, and yet that's making no headlines. But Chappell Roan is simply filming the paparazzi and giving them a taste of their own medicine. That's making all the headlines. And it seems, you know, fingers are being pointed in not all even directions. You know, I think everybody should get a little flack for it. Like, you should either give everybody shit for doing this and like retaliating against the paparazzi, or don't give anybody shit for it. There's got to be, you can't have it both ways. You know, it's not volleyball. You're not going back and forth over a net. You got to pick one side and stick on it. Also, on the topic of Fashion Week, not a story, but just a little pivot, Zendaya is there looking fabulous, wearing all white, which maybe that is a nod to the fact that she is married or not. But the big thing for me is La Roche is still styling her. I told you guys, La Roche did not do anything wrong by saying that her and Tom got married on the, what was that, Actor Award red carpet? Yeah, the Actor Award carpet. She probably told Law, just let them know if they ask. Like, it is fine. All the people thinking La Roche was wrong and La Roche shouldn't have said anything. Now he is sitting next to her front row at Fashion Week still. Things are fine. She looks gorgeous. Her and Law are perfect. And I mean, she has the drama tour, the drama press tour coming up. She has the Odyssey this year. She has a lot of movies coming up where I'm sure she has already tapped Law for all of them. So this is a big year for Zendaya for movies. So like, there's no way that La Roche was not supposed to say her and Tom already got married. So I hope that can put those, you know, those theories to rest, because it was a little kooky. Something else that was a little kooky, but taking the internet by storm this week, and honestly probably my favorite moment on the internet this week, Donna Kelce is getting her house renovated, and it is taking the internet by storm. TMZ posted this as if it was breaking news. It would be the same graphic as if and I'm not wishing this upon her, but if she was to pass away, they would have made the exact same graphic with different text on it. Like the way that TMZ announced Donna Kelce having a home renovation was so jarring, and they made it like it was this big deal, big breaking news, and the internet is just running for it. So according to TMZ, the documents show that Donna has hired a company to replace 9 windows and 6 doors at her home. And I just like, why does TMZ know this, and how does TMZ know this? Like, I am so curious. In a couple of years, give it, I say 10 years maybe, there's going to be some type of scandal, some documentary, some lawsuit about TMZ that comes out and says all the illegal shit that they do. Because even if you think about like the Nancy Guthrie of it all, why are they the ones getting all the info? How are they finding out that Donna Kelce is getting a renovation on her home? Why does TMZ know that these people are getting divorced? It's just like TMZ, something about them is very evil. I mean, even the way that they announce like Liam Payne dying and posting the photos, like they are an evil network, but like something's going to come out about them in the next so many years about them and their backwards practices. But for now, at least we have them to update us on Donna Kelce's home renovation, which it is the funniest thing that like the way that the internet is taking this and running with it. The tweets about it are killing me. I saw one today. Somebody made a Donna Kelce home renovation Twitter account and it's just like making memes about it now. The Weather Channel posted, expect rain today and rain tomorrow or something. And they said, oh my God, this is going to ruin Donna Kelce's home renovation. Like the way that people are running with this is so funny. And I need Wayfair, Home Depot, Lowe's, IKEA. I need one of these like home places to tap into Donna Kelce for a brand ambassador, for a partnership, something, because this is such a golden opportunity for a brand to just capitalize on a pop culture moment. They do need to act quick. Like I do think this is something that will blow over in the next week or so in terms of like the news cycle. I'm sure the renovation is going to take much longer than a week, but I need like cameras up. I need like a mockumentary style film. I need them to do something. I need any brand, Wayfair, Home Depot, Lowe's, IKEA, anyone, literally just tap into this and make it a social media moment, because Donna Kelce loves the cameras. I mean, she was on Traders. She did that Ziploc brand deal back in like 2024 where she was carrying pizza around in a Ziploc bag. Donna Kelce has no shame when it comes to a camera. So I need somebody to tap her for this home renovation and like make it a big thing and capitalize on this moment, because it is truly internet gold. Like this isn't like you write virality like this. This is something that the internet saw and organically took it and ran with it. And I hope a brand is hitting her up and making sure they are getting the most out of this moment, because it needs to be capitalized on. And I'm obsessed. I think it is so funny. I think it is, even like now people are like, oh my God, Travis Kelce came out and announced that he's going to be back on the Chiefs this season. He's trying to take Donna Kelce's thunder. Like it's just so funny the way the internet is running with this. And like, in a time in which the world is so dark, I am so happy to know that Donna Kelce is having her home renovated. Like this is the type of positive news that we need to know in the world these days. It kills me. It is so fucking funny. And the final moment of the week that was too pop to handle some other very positive news. The Pussycat Dolls are reuniting in some aspect. So earlier this week, the Pussycat Dolls official Instagram shared a video that said PCD Forever and launched a new website, pcdforever.com. And now there are rumors swirling around. Allegedly, the group is reuniting as a trio. So Nicole, Ashley, and Kimberly are back as the Pussycat Dolls, which means Carmi and Jessica will not be returning, and we knew Melody wouldn't be. Melody left the group in 2009, 2010 and didn't even come back for their 2020 reunion. Like it was going to be either 5 or 3 of some sort. So the word on the street, it is Nicole, Ashley, and Kimberly reuniting for a PCD Forever reunion of some sorts. What we do know is there will be a concert. The rumor date right now is Friday, September 18th at the AFAS Dome Arena in Belgium. We know it's going to be at that arena because they posted today a Photoshop thing that said like our next concert announcement is going to Stick With You, which obviously Stick With You is one of their songs. And it like got leaked on a website that it was that date. So we know there's at least one concert. We aren't sure if this is going to be a full tour. We don't know exactly what is coming, but the Pussycat Dolls are reuniting in some capacity. And honestly, I am very here for it. They also posted a video like an hour before I started recording of 3 microphones. Now, I do believe all the content they are posting is AI generated, which does make my eye twitch. However, for the sake of my sanity and just like I need something to celebrate and to like, you know, make life worth living in the current world that we are living in, I am going to bat my eye and turn away and just hope that they have a really great animation person on their team, because maybe they do. I can't tell if it's AI or not, but like it is unfortunately giving AI. But they did post a video, AI or not, of 3 microphones, which does confirm the trio of it all. And I do believe by like, if not Thursday, Friday, we'll have an announcement of exactly what's happening. Honestly, I'm here for it. This is what the world needs right now. Nostalgia is selling like hotcakes these days. It's what everybody wants. We are yearning for just a time where the world wasn't on fire. And I think the Pussycat Dolls are exactly what that is. And like, I don't know if this means we're going to get new music. I don't know if they're just going to lean into nostalgia and do like, you know, all the old hits. I don't know if we're going to get new music. We'll have to wait and see. But it's also very interesting when you think about like the timeline of the Pussycat Dolls and their career, because like I said, Melody left in 2009, 2010. Then it was the 5 of them. Then, you know, they dismembered, whatever. They tried to come back together in 2020. And then the pandemic happened. They dropped 1 song and then they announced a tour, and the tour got canceled, and they had a giant lawsuit between Nicole Scherzinger and the original choreographer and the girl who put the group together. Like that whole lawsuit happened. People are in their Instagram comments saying they never got their refunds from the Unfinished Business tour, and that was in 2020. So that's a whole nother mess to clean up, but like, not my circus, not my monkey. And then when you just think about like Nicole Scherzinger over the last couple of years, she's really like reinvented herself to be, I wouldn't say a Broadway darling, but like she is a Tony winner. Like she absolutely crushed Sunset Boulevard. It was truly incredible. And one of the best shows I've seen ever, honestly. Like it was really unbelievable. And I mean, like I said, she won the Tony. She's been like all over Broadway doing all of that jazz. So like for her to like do the Pussycat Doll comeback, then the band breaks up because of the pandemic, then go on Broadway, win a Tony, to then now go back to the Pussycat Dolls is such like a interesting pipeline. And like she has said in interviews, I want to say it was like 2023, 2024, that like she would never rule out a Pussycat Dolls reunion. This was always something she would do. She was never against it. I think, you know, it was something that all the girls were always on board for. And now, I mean, whether it's 3, 5, however many it is, like they appear to be doing it. And I think it's so smart. I think this is the perfect time. Like I said, nostalgia is selling. The world is yearning for just hope core right now. And like the Pussycat Dolls are exactly what we need. But girl groups are also so in right now. I've been saying it week after week. I mean, Blackpink, Cat's Eye, like we are really in an era where girl groups they have the upper hand. You know, girl groups are cool again when they're not always, you know, cool. They're not always at the forefront of culture. And like the world is very receptive to girl groups. I mean, even Le Sserafim, like Girl Set is having a huge moment right now. There's so many groups. Flow is having a huge moment. Like there's so many girl groups having a huge moment right now that like I do think this is so smart and perfect timing for the Pussycat Dolls to reunite. And especially with Nicole winning the Tony last year, like I said, like she's very hot, she's very buzzy. So I think this is a very smart move, and I am very tapped into whatever this is. I don't know if I need new music from them. Like I would obviously be into it and listen to it and love it. I mean, React, their comeback single in 2020 was great. And like if they go that vibe, and I mean, the Pussycat Dolls really don't have a bad song. Like when you look at their hits, they have hits. And like, that's what I mean when like, they could just do a greatest hits tour and like everybody would eat it up. Like that's very much all we would want. But like, maybe they make new music, maybe they don't. I'm not sure, but I will keep you guys updated as we get more information, because I, for one, I will be sat at a Pussycat Dolls reunion tour in the year 2026 at my big age of 30. Like I have no shame in that. And I know there will be a room full of 30 plus gay men in there with me shaking ass to buttons, and I cannot wait for it. But that wraps up our moments of the week that were just too pop to handle. However, if you would like some extra moments, I will have a bonus podcast episode coming out this Friday on my Substack for my paid subscribers. You pay $5 a month. You get an extra bonus piece of content from me every single week, in addition to the podcast and my already weekly newsletter. So lots of content that you can get over on my Substack. Go over, subscribe, you'll get a new bonus episode this Friday with some extra moments of the week that were too pop to handle. I have it linked down below, but we are not done just yet because you guys know the drill. We still have my TV recap, and it is another day in the workroom, and we are recapping RuPaul's Drag Race season 18. We have the long-awaited reading challenge, and I will say I am very upset that Athena Dion was not in the workroom for the reading challenge, both for her to be reading the queens and for her to be read by the queens, because I feel like she would give some shady responses, but I do feel like she would be the target for a lot of these girls, and I feel like it would have added such a fun spice to this reading challenge. I thought I thought it was fine. It wasn't a mind-blowing one. I thought Mikey, Darlene, and Nene did well, but like none of them were like groundbreaking. You know, these aren't reads that we're going to remember, like go down in Drag Race history. These were just, they were fine. They were good. I chuckled, but I wasn't like dying laughing like we were with like Katya or Alaska or, you know, with some of the other incredible reads that we've gotten in the past. But, you know, it is fine. This cast is very strong in other places, so I will give them that. And then we find out that this week they are doing a design challenge where they have to pick a suitcase that was previously packed by an eliminated queen, and it is completely blind as to what is inside of it. Now, this is kind of a crazy concept for a challenge. I don't think I've ever done anything like this before where like they tell you to pack a suitcase and you don't know why. But like, not only are you packing the suitcase not knowing what it's for, now you are picking this suitcase having no idea what their mindset was while packing it. You know, like you didn't know why you were doing this, what the reason was, and now you have to blindly pick it and make an outfit out of it. This is a very difficult challenge. And like, I want to go ahead and say like these girls, these season 18 girls are getting some of the most difficult challenges, I would say. Like they're throwing them curveballs left and right, which I do think is what the franchise needs. Like I do think it is a very smart way to spice things up, but like these girls are not getting the easy stick. You know, this is not a typical season of Drag Race. I really feel like they're giving them a lot of curveballs, and I'm loving it. And they're really delivering, I feel like, this season, but it is something to note. These queens they're getting a run for their money this season. And we have a couple of some drama in the workroom. I think one of the biggest ones is safety pin gate with Discord, which we'll hear, you know, kind of rule out later with the coveted question, who do you think should go home? But the one that's really making me feel so many things is Ciara missed Suitcase Gate and what she left for what would turn out to be Jane Don't. Now, I don't think Ciara packed this suitcase being malicious. I don't think she knew this was going to be the case. She probably thought she was going to have to go into the suitcase herself, make an outfit, and she was like, I'll figure it out when I get there. However, I cannot imagine how Ciara felt when she realized what she did and what was going in the suitcase and like what that meant for whoever picked it, and B, the way that Jane must have felt when she opened that suitcase. Not even opened it, because when she opened it, she was optimistic. But when she took everything out, that's when shit hit the fan, because it was literal scraps. If you're listening and you don't watch, A, thank you for listening to my Drag Race recaps, even if you're not watching. And B, just know that like this was truly garbage in this suitcase. It was scraps of fabric that didn't make sense together. It wasn't even like 3 scraps of the same fabric. It was like a silver sequin fabric and then a different colored fabric, and it was all scrapped and nothing. Really insane bag of tricks she was handed, but spoiler, she turned it the fuck out. And a lot of the girls did. I think that's what a really strong runway. The theme of the week is party, which, I mean, Adore Delano, you will always be famous. Talk about an impact. They are still quoting you on this show 12 seasons later. Kicking it off with Darlene, who got Athena Dion's suitcase. I loved this look so much. I thought it was really well done. The ruching on it, everything about it was fabulous. And selfishly, as an MTV employee, I obviously love any nod to the VMAs. So this was just like fun, very cute. Darlene in the little red mullet, I loved. This was a very good week for Darlene on the runway. Next, we had Discord in Mandy Mango's suitcase. Now, this is one of the ones that is, you know, one of our gates this week. This is safety pin gate, but taking the safety pins out of it, we'll talk about that in just a moment. I did like this. I thought it was very impressive that Discord was able to make a dress that was so Discord Adams coded with Mandy Mango's suitcase, because Mandy and Discord are two very different aesthetics, and Discord did end up being the last one to pick, so she didn't have an option. She had to go with Mandy, so I'm sure she would have picked somebody else had she been given the option, but that wasn't the way the cookie crumbled. But I thought it was really impressive that she was able to construct a garment that felt so true to Discord with the bag or the suitcase that she was given. So for that alone, I think it was very impressive. And I think the garment was cute. I liked it a lot. Next, we had Juicy and Miss Mia Starr's suitcase. I thought this was a lot of fun. It was very cute, very Miami party, very simple. I like the fact that she gave us like a red curly wig, but she looked great in it. She looked gorgeous because I mean, she is just like a gorgeous human being, but it is crazy how like she does just look better in like a little short wig. Like not everybody can do that, but she so good in a little tiny short black wig. And I love this. I even love the blonde wig she gave us last week, I believe, in the beige, whatever category it was. But like, I do just love her in a simple little kitty cat wig. I don't know. I don't need the drag hair on her. I need her in just her staple little thing. But considering Juicy doesn't sew and like design isn't her thing, I think this was a really strong look for her, that it was a lot of fun. And then undoubtedly the star of the week, Jane Don't. Like, the way that Jane was able to put this garment together truly through garbage was so impressive. She made fabric out of these scraps. She was able to put that lining and whatever, like the little details on this outfit. And even with the amount, she had the same amount of time that everybody else had, and she was able to take these fabric scraps, put them together into new pieces of fabric, and still embellish and make this garment so well constructed. And the details were perfect. She had it in her little hair piece. She had it on the dress, on her shoulder, like so well thought out. And she was truly handed a bag of garbage. The fact that she was able to make something so presentable on the runway was so impressive and really just speaks to her talent. We know Jane is talented. We know she is good at what she does, but like this put her over the edge of like, she needs a spot in the top, whether it is the top 2, top 3, whatever they do, she will be in the finale, and I will be shocked if she does not end up there, because she has worked her ass off, and this alone just proves her talent beyond anything else she has done in the rest of the competition, which everything she's done has been great, honestly, but this really put her above the girls in a whole different category. Next up, we had Nini Coco in Didi Fuego suitcase. I'm obsessed with her. I just love her so much. She's so talented and smart with the way that she does her drag. And I loved this look. I loved like the primary color print with the orange. It shouldn't work, but it looked so good. And it was just high fashion. It looked great. I loved the hair. I loved the makeup. I thought she looked fabulous this week. And the print that she was given is not easy to work with. It's very busy. The fact that she was able to make a full outfit with that and make it look as good as it didn't look busy. It didn't look over the top. It was the perfect amount of drag to this outfit. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved this look. Next up, we had Mikey Meeks using Briar's suitcase. I liked this a lot. It was really cute. I thought the story was really cute. She really committed to it. And I liked the simpleness of the fact that it was just like one print, nothing groundbreaking, nothing crazy, but she had a whole story. The little nose was pink. Like she had the whole après-ski vibe. This was great. I really, really liked this. And then ending it with the bang. I mean, Kenya pleaser. Yes, she can please me, because what she did with Vita's suitcase was unbelievable. For somebody who does not sew, this was unbelievable. The proportions, the way it fit her, the way even she took Rue's advice in making sure like the bell bottoms and the sleeves were the exact same proportions, and her hair was just right. Like this was such an incredible week for Kenya Pleaser. I could not be happier with what she turned out on the runway this week, especially considering like, I mean, you guys know how I feel about her last design challenge. I loved it, even though she was in the bottom for it. This was so impressive for her to not be somebody who is a seamstress or someone who sews or anything, doing a bodysuit like this. And I say this lovingly, but like her size doesn't help her. You know, she really has to know her size, know how to cut these garments, know how to make these the right way so it fits her body and proportion her the right way and hits her in the right spot, because she's a bigger girl. The way that she was able to dress herself for this week's challenge was so impressive, and I loved it. It was a very strong week for Kenya. I've been hard on Kenya the last few weeks. I've been thinking she should be in the bottom for certain weeks. But this was a great week for her, and I'm very happy to see her having a moment the way that she did. And then we get the age-old question, who should go home this week? I love this part of the season. I love hearing the girls dish out why they should go home. I will never, ever forget where I was when Luxe Noir London did her spiel about every single girl on the runway and why they should go home. To this day, I don't think we will have ever and will ever see a more iconic answer to the question who should go home this week than the way Luxe answered it. And every time we get that question, the first thing I think of is Luxe, because it was so fucking iconic. But so was the way that they answered this question, because every single girl answered Discord Adam, and it was mainly because of Safety Pin Gate. So again, if you don't watch, thank you for listening. Basically, Discord decided to not sew anything of her garment together. She connected everything with safety pins. She says that she has 800 safety pins on this garment. Now, normally, fine, use whatever you want, get creative. That's so fun. I love this. However, the challenge was to use things in your suitcase to make this garment. And now you could argue that the equivalent of the safety pins to everybody else is hot glue or thread. Sure. But the way that Discord used these safety pins was an accessory and was a way to enhance her outfit. So I do agree that that should have been... In the moment, I thought disqualification. Honestly, I was like, you didn't follow the prompts or the challenge, but I do think at least a bottom placement minimum. She shouldn't have been safe, which we'll get to in a second. But the fact that every single queen on that runway just said Discord should go home, except of course for Discord, who said Darlene Mitchell, which how dare you? Do not speak ill on Darlene Mitchell in front of me, because I take that personally. But everyone did say Discord, and I think it's really crazy when the entire cast does have a consensus answer. It really does kind of tell you how everybody's feeling, what they're thinking about the rest of the cast, and who they're thinking is pulling their weight and who isn't. However, you do have to also consider the first queen who said somebody's name. I think Juicy went first. Juicy says her name, and she sets up a domino effect where now everybody has an easy out to say the same name and not put a target on their back. But I do genuinely think that everybody does agree that Discord should be the one to go home. And I also agree. I do think it's time for Discord to go. I think she's been good. She's been fun, but I don't see her in the top 4. And at this point it's all right, we got to start cutting some girls out, which is exactly what we did not do, because RuPaul decided to not send a single queen home this week, which to that I say, boo, tomato, 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 tomato. I fucking hate this. I hate when they don't send somebody home. We are watching a competition. I want to see somebody go home. I want to see 2 queens battle on the runway to lip sync for their life. And when they don't send somebody home, it pisses me the fuck off. So we end up seeing the top 2 lip sync for the win, which the top 2 are Jane and Kenya, which I do agree with. They lip sync to Feels Like Another One by Patti LaBelle. And this was honestly a great lip sync. Kenya knew most of the words, which is more than we could say for other weeks. But Jane really did bring it. She had that little attitude with her. She really knew the little, the breaths and the isms of the song. She knew this song front to back. So she did deserve this win, and it is her 3rd win. So she is the only queen in the competition to have 3 wins. She is the front runner on paper right now. And I think we're going to start seeing the girls are really going to start cracking. We see it in the preview for next week where Mikey cracks and it I think it was Mikey. It was either Mikey or Nene. I'm pretty sure it was Mikey who cracked in next week's preview and is oh, Jane, don't, everything's perfect. Has her moment. So I think we're about to start seeing these girls crack and turn on each other, because we're at a top 7 still. She'll be a top 6, but we'll be at a top 6. We better be at a top fucking 6 by next week. But we're top 6. We are rounding out the end of this season. And I always know we're getting to the end when daylight savings comes and when we're in fake spring. That's my signal that all right, we're getting to the end of Drag Race, because then I know Drag Race ends at the the middle of May. It's coming up. We have a month and a half, and then we are done. So we're coming up on the end of the season, which is crazy because I feel we just started on it. But that is Drag Race. Nobody went home. Jane Doan has 3 wins, and I still love Darlene Mitchell. What can I say? And with all of that being said, we have made it to the final segment of this week's episode. We end every episode of Two Pop to Handle with a yes and a mess. A yes being something I am loving and a mess being something I am not loving. And we always start things on a high note. So kicking it off with my yes this week is Rob getting Maura her Birkin like she deserves. I'm sure you've seen it. It's been all over the internet. I posted it on my Instagram. I've seen it everywhere. But Rob kept his promise and got Maura Higgins her Birkin after winning the Traitors and stabbing her in the back. He presented to her on Watch What Happens Live. Now, I don't know if he paid for said Birkin or if it was gifted to him by the thrift store that he went to with Jake Shane. I don't know how he obtained the Birkin. I don't think anybody cares how he obtained the Birkin. We all just wanted to see our girl Maura get the bag that she deserved. And the bag is gorgeous. It is beautiful. It is this gorgeous little maroon Birkin. And we're just happy to see Maura getting what she wants. I think Maura can let go of the way that Rob betrayed her in the Traitor's Castle because she now has her Birkin. And it was such a fun, like celebratory little moment in pop culture. And it was like a fun little piece of Traitors after the Traitors ended. So very happy to see Maura getting what she deserved after Rob completely blindsided and stabbed her in the back. And speaking of being stabbed in the back, my mess this week is Pixar and the chief creative officer saying that showing gay stories is like therapy. So he did an interview. His name is Peter Docter, did an interview with the Wall Street Journal this week. And they asked why originally Elio, their new movie, had a gay love story in it. And they asked why he cut it out. And he said, "We're making a movie, not therapy." Which truly grinds my gears because not only is it 2026, like you can show gay people on TV, it's not going to turn people gay. Name studio, Pixar, that made Inside Out and Turning Red and plenty of other movies that have mental health engraved into their storylines, but Inside Out specifically is all about your emotions and your feelings. The main characters are literally your emotions. Like that is the point of the movie, which is also a huge part of therapy is dealing with your emotions. Also, Turning Red, the plot of that movie is the girl trying to deal with her anger and learning how to come into adolescence and learning how to cope with her emotions, which is also something that you do in therapy. So why is it that we can see these characters go through some therapeutic motions, but we can't see a boy like another boy? On top of all of that, you have no problem letting two cars be in love, Lightning McQueen and Sally, or two toys, Woody and Bo Peep. The toys can be in love and the cars can be in love, but two men can't be in love. I'm fucking tired. It just blows my mind that like in the year 2026, we are truly going back in time. Like we are literally reversing and doing more damage to our community. Not we, but like the culture is doing more damage to the gay community now than erasing all the progress we've done over the last so many years. Like, I mean, Trump took down the flag of Stonewall. Thankfully, they're back up. And like, he's trying to erase trans people from existence already. And it's just like the fact that like all these corporations and all of these studios and our administration are just so against anybody that is not them, a straight, white, rich man. Like, it's so disheartening. And like being a minority of any sort, a Black person, a Latina person, a gay person, a trans person, a woman, period. Like anyone who is not them in this country is so targeted and it's just so gross to watch these stories and this progress that we have made in so many different communities that are just fully being erased and just diminished and like overlooked. It's so disheartening. And like hearing the chief creative officer or whatever the fuck his title is of Pixar saying this and just fully like with the chest being like, I didn't want to show gay people in this movie because I don't want it to be therapy for kids. Get fucked. Get all the way fucked. Because who the fuck do you think you are saying that watching a gay love story is going to make these kids gay and put them in therapy? I watched plenty of straight love stories growing up and I still turned out as a raging homosexual. So stick that in your fucking coffee and sip it because I am fed up with these straight men. Whew. That felt great. That felt really, really good. I need to get that out. Thank you guys for allowing me to have this podcast to talk shit about men in general and also just our administration and the bullshit that is going on in our country. But with that being said, we have made it to the end of this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you're listening to and you are loving what you are hearing, make sure you go ahead and leave me a 5-star rating wherever you are listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit subscribe, drop a comment, hit the like button, do all the things except for dislike. If you would like extra moments of the week that were Too Pop to Handle, not only can you get them in my weekly newsletter, which is free on Substack Popping In, but you can also become a paid subscriber on my Substack and get a bonus episode this Friday. I have so many fun things to chat about with you guys, and I cannot wait for that. So go subscribe. Again, I understand if you do not have the means. I am not going to force anybody to pay if they cannot. But if you have $5 a month to, squeeze out and give it to your favorite pop culture podcast, which I hope is me, I would love to have you over there on our paid subscriber tier. And if you would like more of me anywhere on the internet, you can find me at Andrew Ducatola or at Too Pop to Handle across all platforms. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.